a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Welcome to Movies Merica Haunted House. Come on in. You can always come in, but you can never leave. This month, we are reviewing the scariest movies. So, let's start things out. Fright.
Roll that intro, master.
Hey, all you beautiful movie-loving people out there. Live from a red carpet somewhere, surrounded by celebrities. This is the Movies Merica podcast with Van Ebert, where movie reviews meet cold brews. Van will review your favorite and maybe not so favorite movies while enjoying some ice-cold beers and saying cheers. Now let's head into the theater and join our illustrious movie reviewer du jour, who's no doubt got the beer ready to pour, Van Ebert. Yeah. Yes, everyone, welcome to the latest edition of Movies Merica Haunted House. Welcome. Come on in. Yes. So, last week we did some old school horror out. Okay. I just realized that sounded really bad. Let me rephrase. Last week, we did some old school scary movies, and that scary movie was The Exorcist. So this week, we are going to do some new school scary movies. That's right. We are going to go with a movie that just came out starring the Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis. And that new school scary movie is titled Halloween Ends.
It's been 4 years since Michael Myers vanished without a trace.
Hello?
I was certain that I saw him watching me.
You pretend like you moved on, but you're actually just obsessed with death.
What are you gonna do when Michael comes back for you? Because he is coming.
But this time, something feels different. He's more dangerous. He killed my daughter. But tonight, I will kill him. Come and get me.
That Michael Myers is showing the warning signs of some real toxic masculinity. Yeah, gonna have to get that addressed. But hey, before we get into Halloween Ends, let me let you know about some crucial info. That's right. Just want to let you know that these podcast episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many other platforms you can think of that would have podcasts on them. And if you happen to be on Apple Podcast, feel free to give it a 5-star rating. How do you do that, you might ask? Well, you just zip on down all the way to the very bottom, to the bottom of all of my episodes, and then you're going to see 5 fantastic stars staring you in the face down there. And then If you really want to give me 5 stars, please do while you're down there. And also, there's a write a review button right nearby in the same neighborhood as those 5 stars. And while you're down there anyway, you might as well write a review. Yeah, and it can be just a few words. Hey, if you want to write a haiku, that's cool with me. That'd be very creative, and I would be very impressed. Or you could, write, hey, a big, long review, like a Stephen King novel length, and I would be even more impressed if you did that. Unless you're being a big old meanie. So whatever you want to write, that's cool. Also, these podcast episodes are on moviesmerica.com, and I'm on that newfangled whatchamacallit that all those young whippersnappers are using nowadays. It's called social media, and I am on that via Twitter and Instagram under Movies Merica. Also on Facebook, I have a Movies Merica group and page on Facebook. If you want to check me out there and communicate with me there, if you just want to reach out and message me on either of those platforms, that'd be fantastic. I always like hearing from my listeners. And okay, so enough about that, all right? So let's get into one of the features. It's not a bug, it's a feature of each Movies Merica episode, and that is my Ice Cold Brew review. All right. So, like I said last week, since this is October, I will be sampling different Oktoberfest brews. And so this week's Oktoberfest comes from St. Arnold's Brewery at Houston, Texas. I don't know if that's even a Houston, Texas accent, but I know it's probably more like Alabama. But anyway, so this St. Arnold's Oktoberfest comes out of Houston, Texas. And, it's definitely got that little slight pumpkin kind of a flavor to it. It's not too strong. It's very crisp. And, it hits the taste buds just right. And, again, I'm not getting any kind of money from this brewery or any of the other breweries of beers that I sample. And, hey, you know what? My voice is getting a little dry. I have just the cure for that right now. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Time to get down to brass tacks. And those brass tacks here for this episode is Halloween Ends. All right. So, this movie is the third and the latest Halloween trilogy that started out with 2018's Halloween and then was followed up by, I believe it was last year when Halloween Kills came out. So that was the sequel. And then this year we have Halloween Ends. And so this trilogy is directed by David Gordon Green. We had, I think another trilogy or another couple of movies, another couple of Halloween movies. And those were directed by Rob Zombie. And then I think all the other ones. We had a Steve Miner directed one. I think he did the Halloween H2O in 1998. And then John Carpenter did, obviously, at least a couple of the Halloween movies, I believe. John Carpenter is the original creator of Halloween, and then him and Deborah Hill developed the characters for the Halloween franchise. I know, fascinating. So, with Halloween Kills, so that Halloween Kills and then Halloween, the first two movies all took place around the same time, like on the same night, same couple days or whatever, if I can remember correctly. And with that one, the movie ended up with Michael Myers. They thought they'd killed him, but of course they did not, because that's how Halloween movies go, right? But then, in the trailer just said, Michael Myers, he vanished for 4 years, and he may or may not be back. We don't know. You'll have to watch a movie if you decide to watch the movie to find out. From the trailer, I'm sure you've guessed that he's back. But yeah, so it's continuing from there 4 years later. And the first two movies, Halloween Kills, were your traditional Halloween movies. It's you got a series of events involving Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and her daughter and her granddaughter, and Michael Myers is unleashed upon the town of Haddonfield, and he just goes around town and just kills people, right? So. And this one, the plot of this one does not fit within that blueprint, not at all. This plot isn't anything like you'd think it would be. Now, you can decide for yourself whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay. The way I did not particularly like the plot. Now, I would be open, like, if the plot wasn't anything like the other two movies, and the way they pulled it off was in a good way. If they pulled it off, if they just executed it with excellence, then yeah, I mean, I would be in on that. But they just didn't pull it off. They make Laurie Strode almost like a supporting character, and Michael Myers is definitely a supporting character in this. I don't know. It's like they're disrespecting, or they just wanted to be different. Now, I have heard whispers. If to quote Varys from Game of Thrones, my little birds have told me that the COVID pandemic had a lot to do with how this movie turned out. Okay, I think they had a original plan in mind. Originally, this third movie, Halloween Ends, was going to take place on the same night as Halloween Kills and the first Halloween. So Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends was all supposed to take place over like a 1 or 2 day time frame. And then we had the COVID pandemic. Now, I don't know why they still couldn't have done that. Okay, it's not like the pandemic lasted 27 years and like a lot of these characters are going to be like looking way too old. Jamie Lee Curtis looks the exact same way now as she did back in 2018 or 2019 or whenever they filmed Halloween Kills. I mean, Will Patton was another character actor in this. He doesn't look any different. Even Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter in this doesn't look any. Point is, they could have still stuck with the original plan. And in my humble opinion, just with the way that this movie turned out, I wish they would have really stuck with the original plan. And there's a lot of parts in this movie where, when you've got Michael Myers and they've got him caught, they're taking it to him, they're stabbing him, they're shooting him, they're beating him with baseball bats, they're just pummeling Michael Myers. With Halloween movies and a lot of horror movies in general, I just kept screaming internally, like, keep shooting him, keep stabbing him, like, stab him in the head, shoot him in the head, like, whatever you do, don't turn your back on him, like, don't stab him once or shoot him once, and then turn your back on him. Come on, this is Michael Myers. Of course, he's gonna get shot. He's gonna lay still. He's gonna play dead. And next thing he's gonna whip up. He's gonna all of a sudden sit up and he's gonna stab you in the neck or cut your head off or something like that. He's gonna strangle you or whatever. I mean, don't be stingy with your bullets, okay? Like Jesse Eisenberg said in Zombieland, like, don't be stingy with your bullets. Otherwise, you're gonna be a human Happy Meal, okay? Like, what? I mean, I know rounds cost a lot nowadays, but yeah, I mean, feel free to just unleash, just empty that whole 16 round mag right into Michael Myers' head. But yeah, they never do. So they'll never learn. But I mean, I get it. For the movie's sake. I mean, if it was real life, like Michael Myers, they would have killed him a long time ago. And he would have, in a way where he would have never came back. But gotta keep him coming back. Universal. They need to keep making that money. Money. All right. Time for another Oktoberfest swig here. Okay. So this movie, I mean, it's not quite the non-Michael Myers / Laurie Strode movie that Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was, but it's kind of along the same line. I mean, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I mean, it didn't have them in there at all. I mean, at least this movie has Michael Myers and Laurie Strode in it. But like I said, Laurie Strode is almost a supporting character, and Michael Myers, I would definitely throw him in the supporting actor category. And I think I should have included in the fact that they used the same light blue 80s era font for the title card for Halloween Ends. And it's that same light blue 80s era font that they used for the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch movie there back in 1983 when that came out. So I wonder if that was like a subtle hint that David Gordon Green wanted to put in this movie, let you know, like, yeah, this isn't going to be like your traditional Halloween movie, you know, where they use the orange Halloween, you know, font there. So it's a different in that way. So that's kind of a precursor of the movie, or for the movie that you're about to watch. And now I have to say, so the sequence before the title card that they have with this new character named Corey Cunningham, babysitting for like this 9 or 10-year-old kid was what it looks like. And so the scene basically takes place where he goes to this house. Obviously, these guys are pretty rich, big old house. And so this rich couple are going out, and so they need this Corey Cunningham character to babysit. And it looks like he's 17, 18, 19, something like that. So maybe even fresh out of high school. I don't know. Probably still in high school at this point. But anyway, so his name is Corey Cunningham, and he's babysitting this 9 or 10-year-old kid. And yeah, that babysitting night does not go well. Okay, does not go well. But so I mean, so that sequence was, it was good and jarring. It had some good shocking moments, or a moment in it, and that showed some promise, and it made me think like, okay, all right, this movie's starting off on a good note. I mean, it's got me off kilter. It's got me guessing. So that it started off on a somewhat strong note. This movie did. And like the trailer mentioned, it's been 4 years since the event of the first two movies. Like I mentioned, Michael's vanished for some reason after that second movie. Not sure why. I mean, he went kill crazy, and like they said in Halloween Kills, like Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, said in Halloween Kills, with every person that he murders, he gets stronger and stronger. Well, he killed a lot of people in Halloween Kills. I mean, the title wasn't lying, okay? And especially towards the end of that movie, I mean, he took out a whole lynch mob full of people. I mean, if killing is his business was good, okay? And so, I mean, he should have been powered up. I mean, if he's like, the Super Mario of murderers, every single person you kill, you power up, be like, I mean, this guy, I mean, he should have been King Koopa, by the end of Halloween Kills. But for some reason, this Halloween Ends movie makes you want to just suspend your disbelief, and makes you want to believe, like, oh yeah, the killing business was good, but Michael Myers was like, you know what, I'd rather just go off for 4 years and eat sandwiches. What? But even though Michael has vanished and he's gone and he's off eating sandwiches, the town of Haddonfield is definitely walking on eggshells, just due to the events of the first two movies. And some even absurdly blame and lash out at Laurie for some reason, and her granddaughter Allison. It just makes no sense, but you see that in this movie. And like I was saying, this movie is not your typical Halloween movie. It does not follow the same formula as the first two movies. This movie's kind of more of a rebel with sort of a cause character study than just the all-out kinetic, frenetic bloodbath that Halloween Kills was. Now, I have to say also that this movie is basically just a Halloween candy bag full of plot holes. I already mentioned one, but it's some movies I don't bother taking inventory of all the plot holes, because a lot of times I don't think of the plot holes right off the bat. Some of them I do, but this movie, the plot holes were even so obvious, even to me, that it was hard to ignore them when I was even watching this, and it took me right out of this movie. I mean, it was just, I was not satisfied with how lazy it seemed the writing was. I mean, I think that the writer, well, actually, I think there's multiple writers on this. They just didn't know how to resolve some of these plot holes. I mean, I think if they would have put in a little bit more work, I'm sure, or they would have called in some reinforcements, they would have figured out how to fill in these plot holes, but they didn't. Not at all. So I think they were just like, you know what? we got a movie to release. We're going to capitalize on that Halloween franchise name. And I think the last thing I heard, last one of what I heard is I think this movie made its money back already. So it's had a pretty good opening weekend. So that's what these people know. These writers know. I mean, they know, like, we can kind of half-ass a Halloween movie, and it's going to make its money, especially obviously releasing it, in the Halloween month like it does. Now, I'm not gonna completely crap on this movie like the whole time. There are some decent kills in this. Now, it's not near as bloody and gory. There's not near as much carnage as there was in the first two movies, but when the murdering starts, it definitely gets going. And it's got some pretty good ones. I'll just say, I think the best one involves a radio DJ. I'll just put it that way, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you go see that. It's a real tongue twister. And they have another kill where they just, I don't know, I guess maybe they figured it was just going to be too gory or something like that. I don't think so. I mean, these are Halloween movies. I mean, people expect gore, right? And they pull focus on it, and they don't really show you it in its gory glory, and but that would have been a pretty decent kill, right there. But there's some other good ones, other good kills in this movie. Now, doesn't stand up to like Halloween Kills in that movie when he takes out like the whole team of firefighters. Woo! Yeah, that's a pretty cool sequence in Halloween Kills. There's nothing like that in this kind of a kinder, gentler Halloween movie. Now, I couldn't help but notice that there are some subtle callbacks to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and Christine. Now, Christine makes sense, that one, because Christine is a Stephen King novel, but it was directed by John Carpenter, and it's one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. And so you just kind of the callback is really with the Corey Cunningham character, because obviously the main character of the movie Christine and the book Christine is who? Arnie Cunningham. So Arnie Cunningham, Corey Cunningham. Coincidence? I think not. Yes. And so Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. If you've seen that movie and then you watch Halloween Ends, you'll get it. You'll get the callback to that. So, and also this movie is a sort of allegory on outrage culture and just wanting anyone to blame for things. And we see that a lot in today's society. It's something bad happens and people have a choice to make, okay? When the person or persons that are directly responsible for that bad thing, if they're not around to blame, then people don't just go, okay, hey, that person has been executed. They're not around to blame. It's pointless to blame them because they got what was coming to them. I mean, they're not around, right? So instead of at that moment going, okay, hey, you know what, I can't blame anybody. The person that I would blame, I can't blame them. I mean, they're gone, whatever. They go and they decide to blame somebody else. Okay, they have this need to just vent outrage. And we see that nowadays. A lot nowadays we'll have something bad happen, and they'll vent their outrage when the person that did the bad thing is available and is around to laser focus that outrage on, but they instead in a lot of cases nowadays, a classic example is political reasons. They'll focus their outrage on somebody that had absolutely nothing to do with the bad thing. And so in this movie, Halloween Ends, it's kind of an allegory on that. They kind of touch on that a little bit. It doesn't pound you over the head about that point like Halloween Kills did. They're a little bit more subtle in this movie. And it's I don't know if David Gordon Green or the writers are just kind of their way of saying, hey, stop it. You laser focus your blame on where it should go. And now one thing at the end of this movie is, of course, they have they have a big climax scene, and so Laurie Strode character, she has been through, was it like 13 movies, 12 movies, 12 Halloween movies before this movie with the Michael Myers character. We'll take Halloween 3, Season of the Witch out of that. And so she's got a long history dating all the way back to 1978 with this Michael Myers character. There's a big, long pause in the Michael Myers because he got, sent to a prison or a psych ward, and then he escaped. But he was in that psych ward for many, many years. But the point is that there's a lot of history between this Laurie Strode character and Michael Myers. And maybe that's the reason that this movie kind of portrayed what I'm about to kind of mention. What I noticed is at the end, they showed kind of a weird affection for Michael Myers kind of vibe from Laurie Strode, okay? Where, she's like caressing his hand, and I don't know, I'm probably reading that wrong, but I just thought that, okay, this is the guy that killed your daughter and killed your son-in-law, okay? I would not be, getting all, holding the hands, and getting that kind of thing, and kind of, just getting kind of lovey-dovey, that's probably the wrong way of putting it, but it just kind of weirded me out. I'm like, really? That's kind of off, I think, but I don't know. It's if I thought about it a little bit more, I might be like, okay, maybe that does fit within the movie. But Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah, she, does I think a bang-up job as Laurie Strode in this. I mean, she's been doing the Laurie Strode character since 1978, so, I mean, she can do this character in her sleep. And she's got some badass moments in this. There's a sequence towards the end of the movie where she's in her house alone, and she goes through this ruse for someone. I think she I know. She suspects like somebody's in the house with her, and she kind of goes through this act, this ruse, a little trickeration, and it seems kind of pointless, but it does lead to kind of a badass line from Laurie Strode. So it's worth it for that point, but then it's kind of wonky. It's you just to be completely objective, is like, okay, she didn't have to go through all that, but if she hadn't, she wouldn't get to say this badass line. But and then in this movie, she's more human. She's humanized in this movie, and I think that's part of the plot. Like I said, it is a kinder, gentler Halloween movie. And also, this movie is about the 5 millionth movie to use Blue Oyster Cult's "Don't Fear the Reaper." Okay, I like that song. I'm a big fan of 70s rock, and particularly Blue Oyster Cult. But can we please stop using that movie or that song in so many movies? Okay, there's such a big catalog of good old classic 70s rock that you could use, but yeah, that has to do with death, and so Blue Oyster Cult's "Don't Fear the Reaper." You know what? Let the Reaper sleep, and come up with a little bit more imaginative, end title or end credit song than Blue Oyster Cult. But I digress. Okay. So should you go ahead and see Halloween? Let's try that again. Halloween Ends, my friends. Well, I don't think you have to see it in the theaters. Matter of fact, Universal released it on the Peacock channel, their streaming service, and at the same time, they released it in the theaters, which is never a good sign. Now, if they did that during the COVID pandemic, that wasn't necessarily a bad sign because they were basically releasing stuff on the streaming services and not in the movie theaters. But now they're releasing plenty of movies in the movie theaters. They usually release the movies that they don't think are going to be that good in the movie theaters and streaming services, and that goes for all studios, really, or well, at least Universal in this case. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to go see it in the theaters, but if you do, hey, more power to you. All right, everybody. So with that, hey, as always, I am honored that you're listening. I appreciate you listening all the way to the almost end here. And yeah, feel free to forward this to any family and friends that even remotely might think that would like these Movie America episodes, particularly one like about Halloween Ends and Halloween movies and that kind of thing. And as always, everyone, get out there, watch those movies. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. Boo! Bye.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got a popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.